Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is October the 19th, 2023. And I'm coming to you from southwestern Ontario in Canada. And I'm just very excited today because it's earlier in the week. I don't release my videos until Thursday. They always come out on Thursday, but I happen to be videotaping on Monday of this week. And I'm really excited today because you heard me talking about a shed that I want to put up. Well, the shed got put up today. And in fact, they probably only finished half an hour ago. And they were very, very lucky that as they finished, it started to sprinkle and rain a bit. So they got it done just in time in the middle of the afternoon. And I want to show you some pictures. I wasn't able to get any pictures of the finished thing yet, but I don't release this until later in the week. So that gives me a day or two to get out and get a picture when it's not raining. So the first thing I want to do is post a picture of the shed as it was. I think I have both a front and a side view. I'm quite sure my husband erected that shed the very first summer we moved in. We moved in the summer of 76, long time ago. I've been here 47 years. And that shed has stood the test of time. It quite solid, but it was sinking in one corner. The wood was rotting in that corner. I use, for those that have been around, you know, I have quite a hosta collection, and I use that shed to store the hostas that are in pots. And I put them in the shed over winter, and it's been very, very difficult and very congested. And I mean, I got rid of everything else in the shed. I don't have a lawnmower. I don't have a barbecue. I don't have a snowblower. I was bringing some of the chairs in down the basement during the winter to make enough room for all of my pots that I store in there. Now here is a picture of the empty space. I had the shed torn down at the end of September. So there's pictures 2 weeks ago. And then we had to wait for them to come and put up the shed once we told them the space was ready for them. And finally, here is the shed. And I also am going to show pictures in a minute. I'm going to show you the outside of the shed, and then I'm going to go in, if it's not too dark, and show you the shelves that they built on one side of my shed. And you can see this shed is a very unusual shape. It doesn't have a center peak like most buildings do. It has the peak on one side, and that was done specifically so that I could put shelves all along that side. Now I'm going to show you a couple of pictures in the shed when the way I used to store my hostas, and you can see it got worse every year. I had to, you know, get them level and put cardboard on it, make another level, and so on and so forth. The cardboard over the course of the winter, you know, it gets damp out there. Even though it's inside, it's still very cold and warms up, and the cardboard often gave way, and the plants would be growing up through the cardboard before I got them all out. This way, I'll be able to see them all on the shelves, and as soon as they start sprouting at all, I can get them outside in the spring, but I don't have to bring them all out at once. This is going to allow me to do the job both fall and spring over time, a little bit at a time, because I'm getting to the age where I can't do it all in 1 or 2 days. My back actually gives out after Well, it depends. An hour and a half of bending and up and down, and I get a lower back that aches so bad I can't move. And I don't have an injury or anything. It's just I think the muscles in the back in my back. So I am so excited to finally have my shed brand new, and I think I'm going to be able to get a lot more in it. I'm just really happy. So, you know what that means? It means over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be moving things back into the shed and getting um, nails and so on so I can hang things. And then it'll be time to start working on the yard and bringing all the pots in. Usually I end up doing that mid-November because that's about the time that all the leaves have fallen. Um, this year we're way behind. The trees are still pretty green. They aren't turning color much. So I can't do all of the yard work until the leaves totally drop from the tree. But if we get a cold snap and the hostas start to die off for the winter, I will be able to take care of them ahead. Last year, I was able to do everything. Oh, I think by the 10th of November, I was all done. I suspect this year I'm going to be working later into November because the leaves are going to be a while before they fall and I take care of them. But anyway, I just thought I'd give you that update and show you some pictures. And this is what I've been talking about for quite a while. And then in the spring, I hope to do something else in the garden. And when that gets done, I'll show you that too. But anyway, there's a few pictures of the before and after. That old shed was really seen its day, and it didn't owe me a thing after all those years. So I've got a shed now it'll outlast me for sure. And very good quality work in that shed. So I wanted to go back a little bit. Last week, I got off track. I started to tell you about why I started my channel and what my channel was about. I really wanted to bring my new viewers up to date. And I got started and then I got sidetracked. And I realized when I look back that I never finished one thing that I really wanted to talk about. So as I said last week, I started this channel to share basically to share all the finished objects I have been stockpiling because I hadn't been able to go to a craft show for several years due to COVID. And so I thought, well, I can show my finished objects and share my love of crochet with you, my viewers. And in the meantime, I developed a real passion for hand-dyed yarn, and I started to show that as well. And by the way, if I haven't already mentioned, I think I have, I am going to be going to what might be called a craft show in the middle of November. So I'll tell you more about that as time gets near. My other reason, though, for starting a YouTube channel, besides the opportunity to meet so many great people in the yarn community, my other purpose, and this is what I didn't get to, was to draw traffic to my Facebook page. I see a lot of YouTube creators that refer to their Etsy page and they sell their finished objects as well as other things. A lot of them have stitch markers, I can't even think, lots of other things. And they have an Etsy page or a store on Etsy where they sell their crafts. And I just did not have a desire to get an Etsy page started. Again, it's a big job getting it done and getting things uploaded. And I began to hear some rumblings in the Etsy community of things that some people weren't happy with. And I strongly suspect Etsy, the management of Etsy is very similar to eBay. And I was involved in eBay for a number of years back in the the early 2000s. And things went downhill after a while, and I could see that Etsy was doing the same thing. So I don't have an Etsy shop, but all of the things I make, other than the ones I keep for myself, like what I'm wearing, I want to sell. And I think some of you have gone to my Facebook page. I see where people have liked items, and there have been a few comments. And I just want to mention again that I do have a Facebook page where I sell my items. And what's listed is, it's a little bit out of date. I'm going to have to remove a few things, and I haven't been good at putting the last few items on the page, simply because those items are going to the craft show. So I thought I'd wait until after the craft show to see what was left to then list on the Facebook page. But what I do want to say is, anytime I show you a finished object in my videos and you see something you really like, please feel free to get in touch with me, even if it's not on the Facebook page, and ask if it's for sale, because 95% of the time it's likely to be for sale. I keep a couple things for myself, and of course some of the things I make, like the baby blanket I showed you, they are gifts for family members. But and I know most of you are crocheters, so you're not necessarily looking to buy crocheted items, but some of you may make certain things and don't make what I make. For instance, I know I have some viewers that love to make amigurumi, and of course you'll never see me making amigurumi, but maybe because you make those items, you don't make so many shawls or the fashion scarves, and you see something you really like, please give me a shout out, ask me about it. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. So I just wanted to let people know that the items I make are for sale. And I just wanted you to be aware of that, because I do not have an Etsy shop. Now, I know people sell things also on Instagram, and when I get just a wee bit better, maybe that'll be one of my goals next year, is to actually set up if not a store, a way to sell my items on Instagram, because I know people do a lot of selling on Instagram as well. So that's all. I just wanted to get in what I neglected to do last week. So we want to start by talking about finished objects. Well, I want to warn you, because of all this yarn, all the yard work that I'm going to be doing soon, there isn't going to be as many finished objects as I would like. The other thing I need to point out is I am making some items, and I'll just give you a bit of a peek. I can't show you the whole item, but I am involved in 2 pattern testing programs right now. I finished one last week, and I'm just going to show you the colors, really pretty colors with some open work in it. That's one item I finished last week, and I will tell you about it when the pattern is released. And I asked about it, and she said that it's going in a magazine, and the magazine comes out early next June, and they start the promo in May. So she'll let us know probably late May. We might be able to post our pictures, and I'll be able to show you the actual finished object, and I'll talk more about the yarn at that time. Another item I am working on is this, and again, I can only show you a sneak peek of it. It nice, beautiful, lacy work in it, and it is done with Oasis Fingering, which is an EFA, Expression Fiber Arts, for those that are new. I'm working on that for Karen Hooley. I do a fair bit with Karen Hooley's patterns, and she's known for her lace work. And I don't know, but she did say sometime in 2024, she releases a new pattern at the beginning of every single month. And so she has so many months planned ahead. And this is being tested now. We have to be done by the end of October. And all she would say is sometime in 2024, you'll see the pattern for this, and I'll be able to show you that finished object when she tells us that it's being released. And you're probably wondering, for those of you that are new, what am I wearing? And again, I have worn this several times. Now I'm finding that, it's starting to get chilly down here because our weather took a change for the worse as far as I'm concerned. We had a beautiful, beautiful week. I think the first week of October, and then Thanksgiving hit and the weather changed and it's been cold, going down to the single digits at night. And we had rain all day, a day or two last week, and it's raining again today. So it's gotten chilly. And when it gets chilly, I'm going to start wearing my ponchos, and I have a couple sweaters. I'm not ready to start wearing them yet. So this is a poncho I showed you a few weeks back. It's probably got mohair in it, and it has that purple metallic thread running through it, and it gives me just that little bit of warmth. So you're going to be seeing this. I have 3 different ponchos I've made I can wear in the house, and you're going to be seeing a fair bit of them over the next few weeks. Got a itchy nose. But I did get one item finished. I'm going to be finishing this tonight. I'm quite sure tonight. Might take me an hour tomorrow to do the ends and what have you. No rush to get it blocked. Anyhow, I do have one finished object, and that is this poncho. And this poncho, I can't lift this up. It's too heavy. But you can see this is a neck with ribbing. It's like a cowl neck. First time I've ever put a cowl neck in a poncho. And the neck is done first with the ribbing. You do it this way, and you seam it at the back, and then you fold it over. This is double thickness. You fold it over, and then you catch the bottom of both rows right here and start the poncho. And the poncho is just granny squares on one row and then chains. This is exactly like the shawl that Fiber Spider does, and he calls it the modern granny. Exactly the same. You get a row of chains and single stitches, and then a row of the granny cluster in between. Now, this is done with Lion Brand Scarfie. I don't know if you're familiar with Lion Brand Scarfie, but I really, really like Scarfie. It's if I had to come up with a top 10 list of big box store yarns, Latte is at the top of the list for me. And what is it called? Colorama Halo. I absolutely love that one as well. And this would be in my top 10. I don't know if it's number 3 or not. I also really like Unforgettable, but it'd probably make my top 5. So there's Scarfie. Looks beautiful red. I saw this worked up and I just loved it. Let me tell you a little bit about Scarfie. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It is 87% acrylic and 22% wool. So this is not something I can donate because there's wool in it. We try to stick with all acrylic. But I am going to be taking this to the craft show with me. I think the color will catch people's attention, and hopefully it will sell. Now, these have 312 yards, and I used 3 balls and a little bit more, just because I wanted to make it a good length to cover and to come down, because this is so heavy. It's the type of thing they're not going to be wearing indoors. They're going to be wearing outside in the cooler weather, and I wanted to make sure it came down the arm a decent length. And by the way, the color of this one is called Cranberry Black. and you see how the colors change. You know, this isn't as true a red as it really is, because it's a beautiful red. That looks in my screen there just towards the orangey color, but it definitely isn't. Cranberry is a good color for it. So that is a finished object that I have. We'll just move it back out of the way so I don't knock it over. So, the other thing I've been working on, of course, I've been working on this, and I don't have it finished yet. But the other thing I work on every week is the next installment of Clue. So we're ready to talk about Clue. Now, here's how far we are. I should have cut this off before I came down, because after the last three, it went back to, in the third one, it did a couple of rows, and then it went back to our main color. I really like this main color. I wish I could get more of it. So I first want to show you my progress to date. And I have this long strand in the way. But here we are. I have done the last, gonna get far enough back you can see it all. So you can see the two colors of green, and then that rusty brick red, and then going back to the solid color, well, the main color. So you see main color at the beginning, main color after three, then the main color after three more. Of course, these rows are getting much thinner because they're getting quite a bit longer. But again, there was nothing complicated in the pattern. We're doing double crochets, and sometimes we do two together, and sometimes we do one, and sometimes we skip one. It's a pretty straightforward pattern. So after seeing that and my progress so far, you're ready to keep sliding off. This has a bigger neck than I like, but I don't even think I have a remnant that I could find to close this neckline in. So it is what it is. So that brings us to opening the next three skeins. So let me get my scissors here. And I have my trusty Clue bag. And by the way, I didn't mention this, and I don't know if they'll say something about it, but I think I told you when I opened the box that there was this brown sugar blondie, like a brownie, but a blondie. And it says on the package, it's a Clue. So blondie, how do you think it's a Clue? Do you think it's referring to the hair color of one of the people? I have to think that's what it's about. This was kind of dry. I didn't eat the whole thing. But I have all of my clues for the pattern in here, and I have all of the bands from the yarn in here because they're clues. So I put them all in the bag. And I don't know if at some point we're going to be told how to make use of this. They say it's a clue. But do we automatically say, okay, we know these three items? I don't know. I hope there's instructions in one of them that tells me what to do about that. So anyway, we left off at Clue 7 last time, and now we're ready to go to Clue 8. And I know that's what you're waiting for. You want to know what the next color is. So I'm just going to cut through this paper carefully because I do not want to cut any yarn. And tear off the tissue. I'm not keeping the tissue. And once again, it says it's a clue. And there's my pattern piece that I will have to take upstairs and it's a clue. And there's our color. Okay, gold. And of course, we just finished using this color, so that gold is gonna be nice with it. You know that it's not my favorite, but I don't mind it. At least it's not bright gaudy yellow. So that's gonna look nice next to this. So that's, oh, and what's the clue, they say? Come on, Judy, you're falling down on it here. Here is the clue. It is, oh, what do you think? Colonel Mustard. That makes sense, doesn't it? She's dyed these clues to match the names, and she's done a very good job of it too. All right, next is number 9. See, I knew it was 9 because that's the way it's held. And, uh-oh. Well, I'm going to have to tell you, folks, she's finally done one that I don't think I like at all. I see a corner of it here. Yeah. This one is a little too bright for my taste. Some of you will love it, I'm sure. And there's the pattern. I better keep the pattern out here where I can see it. And again, it says it's a clue. Every one of these is a clue. We're not surprised at that. It's a clue. And there is my pattern piece. And here is, now there's a color. I can't really say too much about it. Sorry, folks. I'm sure, how does it look next to that? Makes me wonder if this is going to be big enough I could leave one out. Terrible of me, isn't it? But I just can't see myself. Oh well. Anyway, here's the clue. Hall. All right. And next, we have clue 10. And we have 3 more for next week to finish this up. And I will have this stitched up for you for next week for sure. I'll make an executive decision as to whether I'm going to leave that one color in or not. Once again, it's a clue. And there's my pattern clue. And hey, I like this one. Isn't that pretty? I'm sorry, I think this one is so out of place. Is so out of place with these, because these are rich. This, anyhow, this is really, really pretty. And what's our clue? Ha! I guess this makes sense. The library. In the library. That is very pretty. She's had another brown in here that I really liked as well. Very nice. So that's our next installment. Really nice. That's our next installment of Clue, folks. So there you have it. Now, this is going to be a shorter video because I don't have a whole lot more to share with you or to do. But I did want to take a minute to talk about 2 things. First is the flower of the month. I have not yet started to make my item. Still have my yarn caked up here, hidden away from a certain furry body that likes to carry my yarn places. I am hoping to get started on it this weekend, whatever it is I'm going to make. So I want to talk about that for just a moment. I gave you the deadline of Sunday, October the 29th. I'm going to stick with that. October the 29th will be the deadline to get your pictures of your finished objects to me. My email is in the description box below, judyscreations21 at gmail.com, and send it with something in the subject line that says October Cal, something like that. And we will do our normal November the 1st video. But that is on a Wednesday, and I usually come to you on Thursday. So I am going to come to you a day early that next week. That's not next week, that's 2 weeks from now. You still have almost 2 weeks, week and a half, to get, well, today's the 19th. You have 10 days to get your pictures to me. And on the Wednesday that week, I'm going to do the normal November the 1st, showing you all the finished objects, and of course, showing you the month of November. Month of November is very pretty, so stay tuned for that. But the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is socks. Again, this is Socktober, known as Socktober month, the month of making socks. And I showed you the yarns I had, and I sent out a challenge at the very beginning, especially to those of you that have never made a pair of socks, to make a pair of socks this month. And some of you said you were going to do just that. And I'm getting so bogged down in keeping up with our monthly cal and the two test patterns and our clue and my October cal that but I will get a pair of socks in here. But what I decided I would do is this. I guess it's because I have a pattern picked out for the monthly cal, and it looks like it's a little more involved than what I normally do. So I don't know how long it's going to take me. I hope no longer than a week, so that I still have a few days left over for socks. I took somebody's suggestion, something they are going to do, and I decided that this particular ball of yarn would be perfect for it. I'm not really into stripes, although I love the colors in this yarn. Somebody suggested they were going to try and do a tube sock first. And that's the hard step of socks, is the heel. I guess there's a heel and a gusset. But anyhow, the heel construction is the part that, I guess, if anything's going to give you a problem, it's that. A friend of mine told me she's having a little trouble with the fit. It seems to fit, but because of all the trying on, it's stretched and now it's loose. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to make a pair of tube socks first to make sure that I get something done in October. And I'm going to use this. And the thing about a tube sock is it'll fit any size, right? There's no heel in it to make it fit the foot. And possibly I could take them with me in November and sell them at the craft show. When I'm finished making the tube socks and feel good about the toe construction, which isn't that hard, it's like the top of a beanie, then I will make another pair. In fact, I'm challenging myself. They won't all get done in October, but I'm challenging myself to use both of these. One for a toe up and one from top down. So I'll have 2 pairs of socks and see what worked out best. And then I can give you my honest opinion or points of what worked and what didn't work and what was easy and what was hard. Okay. So I will, but it'll be into November finishing the others. But I do hope I use all 3 of these and get 3 pairs of socks done. Socks aren't that big. Surely I can get them done. Maybe at least 1 by the end of October, maybe 2 pairs by the end of October. Now, what I wanted to tell you is that I would like to get your pictures of socks. I particularly want pictures from those of you that are doing socks for the first time. And I don't care if they have blunders or a drop stitch. By the way, I'm talking crochet or knit, you know, whatever it is you do. I would love to see your pictures of what you've done. And the following week, after the beginning of the month, the following Thursday is November the 9th. And I'm going to show all of your socks. I will need your pictures by the Sunday, November the 5th. And when you send them to me, please, in the subject line, put socks. And give me a little background. So in other words, if you're a very first time sock maker, then tell me this is your very first pair of socks. If you've made socks before, then you can tell me, yes, I've made socks before and I wanted to join in the fun for Socktober. And maybe you could tell me the construction. Is it a toe up or a top down? Some of you might tell me the yarn. Some of you do like to tell me the yarn. If you know how, and only if you know how, when you send the picture, if you know how to write on the picture, maybe you could just put your first name in the bottom corner. Because if most of you can do that, then I'll just flash up the pictures and I won't do a whole lot of talking. But I think I am going to do a slideshow like I always do. And I'm going to separate it into first timers and then experienced sock makers. And if you send them to me by November the 5th, I'll try to put something in Instagram, and maybe I'll put something in my community tab with the page, with the channel, YouTube channel, mentioning the deadline date for Socktober. And like I said, on the 9th, I'm going to do another slideshow showing all the socks that you all made. And I'm sure we're going to see such a wide variety of colors and styles. And I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm going to do straight stitch, but I'm going to do tube socks. And then I'm going to do, I have a toe up pattern ready to go. I have 2 actually. I guess I have to choose. But anyway, that's what we're going to do about socks. Okay? So I'm looking forward to seeing that, because November is going to be a quieter month once we're done with Clue, and December is going to be a very busy month. So we have time in November. December is going to be a very busy month. We have time in November to do a few of these extra things. So I look forward to seeing what you do. And maybe you could give me your opinion of whether, in the comments, what you think of my idea of leaving out this color I don't like. I don't mind these 2. They'd be nice next to each other. I'm not really sure about this one. But anyway, I guess it won't be all that much, given that it's getting so wide. And that's clue 9, which is a very, very short clue. Let me just check it. Oh, it's only 3 rows, 5, 6, oh, it's 4 rows. Repeat 53 and 54 twice. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll put it in because it's there. Okay, we have one last thing to do before I say goodbye. And I did tell you last week that I got some yarn in the mail, so I am going to show you one acquisition. And the yarn I got, oh shoot, I dropped the tag on one of them, so I don't know the yarn color. It's upstairs on my kitchen table. It's going to have to stay there. I got some yarn from Arcane Fiber Works. Arcane Fiber Works is hand-dyed yarn, and his name is Terry. And you know, this is the second order I've made from him. And if I didn't get in the mail the same day or the very next day a little note from him, he didn't put it in with the yarn. He sent me a note just saying he really appreciated my business. Whether he does that on repeat business or what, it didn't come the first time, but I thought that was kind of very nice of him to send me a note. Now, these are all the same. I got them because he had a few colors I liked, and I haven't bought yarn in a while, and this is in my top, you know, I did the Canadian dyers, and he was in the top 5, I think. I liked the softness, the feel of his yarn. So these are all, I have 3 skeins. I'll tell you about them first. They're all fingering weight, and they're all 80-20 merino nylon blend, and there are 400 meters, which means there's 436 or 7 yards. So the first one I have is this green one. Well, it's got blue-green here, and then other yellowy green with some cream. And the color name is Jungle Waters. It really feels really very nice. Yes, it does. I really like the feel of his yarn. The second one I got is called Fire and Ash. So we've got the kind of rusty browns. There's actually a purpley tinge to that dark color. And again, creamy, dark chocolate browns. I really like it. Feels good. That's all I'm going to be doing in the next while. It's just maybe 1 or 2 here and there as I see something that grabs my attention, because I don't need more yarn. And I've looked at several companies and I didn't see anything that grabbed me, and I decided I'm going to stop looking because I see some in my own collection that I just love, and I want to get to it. And I got a third one, and interesting, these came like this in a skein, and the third one came caked. Now I do know that he has on a site that he will cake them for you for free. I don't recall asking him to cake. I never do, because I have and he made sure the center pole is out. You have to be careful when you take it off the spindle that you pull this out, otherwise it get lost in there and you get your yarn barf no matter what. But anyway, this came caked, so it makes me wonder if, did I hit the option to cake it by accident, or did he maybe have one sitting there that was supposed to go out and somebody changed their mind and it was already caked, so he sent it. I do not have the name of this, but you can see it's pink and gray, and I love pink and gray. And he has solids. I never really spend time looking at solids, but I think I'm going to go back sometime soon and look in the solids and see if he's got something in the pink tone that would go with this. I can put them together. I think that's what I want to do. So anyway, Arcane, he's in Alberta. So that's all I have to show you, folks. because I'm not getting as many finished objects these days as I would like. Well, I am, but I can't show you. So I don't have as much to show in one of my podcasts. So anyway, that's as far as we've gotten. I don't know if I'll have any finished objects next week, because that will be finished and I can't show you. I will work on the clues for sure. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a pair of tube socks first and then go to my October cal, so that I'll have it done in time for the video at the first of the month. I just might decide to do that. Then if I can show you a pair of socks, I'll have some finished object. I still have 1 or 2 items from my stockpile. I guess I could bring those out next week. Anyway, that brings us to the end of another week's video. And I'm not even sure what I'm going to do next week, except to, I have to have a hook, don't you? I don't know what I'm going to do next week except to do the last of the clue. So until then, happy hooking.